What's up, everybody? Caleb from thebookflipper.com. We're going to be walking through a little bit of a tutorial on how to reprice your inventory. So there's lots of repricers out there, lots of off-the-shelf repricers. A lot of bigger sellers have built their own, and repricers are great because especially as your inventory levels grow, it can be difficult, if not impossible, to manage everything by hand. It can suck up a lot of time when you probably should be out buying more books or listing books or streamlining your operation instead of repricing. However, repricing is a necessary evil, and if you use repricers, there are limitations, whether it's Amazon's repricer or an off-the-shelf one like Reprice It, App Eagle, Seller Engine, etc. There's lots of them out in the marketplace now. I want to show you some free alternatives, and I think there's no substitute for getting your own eyeballs on there, or if you can train somebody to do it for you at a decent hourly rate or a virtual assistant or whatever, these tools will be very helpful as it pertains to that. This is not my account. We're going to also blur the SKUs and the seller name just to protect their identity, but if you do end up tracking it down, it's not me, and I'm not going to share who it is. Someone was kind enough to share their account for the sake of this presentation. At any rate, what we're going to do is I've already got this sorted. A lot of you list everything at a stock price of $200 or $300 or $500, and either your repricer may miss some of it or it'll come in later and maybe not catch some of it if there's not competing offers. So we're going to actually go show you how to do this. So first up, you actually want to set in your preferences. You want to be able to set the lowest price you want to compare to the same fulfillment method, or you can set it, I believe, to be Prime. We're going to get the buy box price, which for this is going to be the lowest used Prime. This buy box price is usually going to be the lowest new Prime. Often it's Amazon on the listing themselves. And what we're going to do is we're going to use 2 Chrome extensions to speed up the process instead of clicking through all the time, because normally you can click through this link, for example, it'll bring it up on Amazon. It will show you, well, I've got the redirect in place. It'll show you all of the listings, and you can see the keep it charts, and you can make your decisions. You have to turn Prime on or off. Because I have a redirector in there, which I'll show you what that is in a second, I'm only seeing Prime, which is actually really helpful because I don't really care about the merchant fulfilled, and we'll show you what this means as we get into it. So if you list everything at $200, this is a great way. I've got this sorted, so we're going to go in and manually fix these, and you could also go through all of your inventory and look at that as well. So the 2 pieces of software we're going to be using, both of these are free. You can get them from the Chrome store. They may exist for Firefox or other ones as well. The first one is called Redirector. What this is going to do is bring up only the Prime offers. So we're going to say options, and then it'll give us the option to edit the redirects. So I'll list this probably on my blog or in the notes below the video, but the redirect is you can set up Amazon/GP/offer-listing/ and then a star, which is a wildcard. What we're going to do there is we're going to take everything that's after this dash is our wildcard. We're going to throw that in here, and this is usually the book's ASIN or the ISBN essentially. So we're going to redirect to this. $1 means we're going to plug back in. And again, they've got, if you check out their help or documentation or create a new redirect, they'll explain what this is doing. And then we're actually going to set up and only do the Prime options. If you wanted to exclude certain things like rentals, you could actually just basically go build that link however you want and make sure you use a wildcard here for the ASIN and plug in the $sign and the number 1. And after that, you could copy paste from the URL. What this does is every time we click an Amazon link like we just did, it's actually going to bring up only the Prime option. So it's going to take the ASIN, which is our wildcard, and everything after this, it's going to spit out that for us, which is essentially Prime only. I don't know if I have rentals on or off. I believe I have them off. And this is going to help us go in and reprice quickly. So I'll give you a little bit of my strategy. The second piece of this is rather than clicking back and forth on tabs, we're going to use a second Chrome extension called Nifty Split, all one word. N and S are capitalized. You can find that again, it's free. What happens is the first time you click a link, right click it and say open in Nifty Split. Sometimes it takes a little bit for the screen to reconfigure itself. Looks like it's doing pretty good here. Then you can actually reset these screen sizes however you want. So I don't really care so much about what I'm seeing on Amazon. We're going to kind of hide that. And again, it does tend to be a little bit finicky, and then we can take what's over here, and this is going to make clicking through a lot faster. So once you've got that set up, a little bit of work, I think you may have to reset this, but every time we click on a new link, it's actually going to reload in this new page. So this is going to allow us to quickly go down the list and reprice. If you want to go even faster, you can turn the Keepa charts off. I like to see it because all we see here is the current rank, and I'd rather see how it's doing over time and know how popular it is. So without further ado, let's go through some of these, and I'll walk you through a little bit of my pricing strategies as well as kind of reprice these on the fly. So most of these are going to be used. I think this seller has a handful of new items as well. So we'll kind of show you what we're doing. Make sure you're repricing used against used and new against new if you're going to sell as new. I know some people are cautious to do that. And if you don't sell new, then don't worry about that aspect. Again, we're going to see what our range is. You could also set these, instead of the lowest price being the lowest prime, you could actually set this to see the lowest merchant fulfilled. However, on the Keepa chart, we can see that here. Keep in mind that the lowest merchant fulfilled does not include shipping, so typically add about $4 to that as well. It's just the API that Keepa is using. So we're going to start here. Simply click here, load the chart. For me, I'm looking for gaps. Can I get a slightly higher price? Some of these are cheaper books and there's not much margin. The used price, the black line, is pretty much flatlined at, a penny, a couple pennies. So this is really a penny book. It's cheap. Amazon's on it for $10.94. I'm going to price somewhere between those as a prime seller. And in this particular case, there's a ton of sellers kind of jammed up here. I'm probably it's going to sell, fairly quickly. It's selling every day. So we're probably going to come in at like $7.99. And again, this is not a great book. It's not something you should be out selling a ton of these, but it's there. We're going to wait and save till the end. Sometimes you can do these as you go, but that'll slow you down. And then we click on the next link. It's going to bring up the chart for this particular book. And again, I'm looking just at Keepa. Is it low, medium, or high? This is a high sales history. I'm not really worried if it's a textbook. This one's kind of a Q4 book, a Christmas type book. The Existential Musings of an Angst-Filled Cat. Apparently, it's a great Christmas gift. So it's selling a lot. I'm going to try and be in the top. I like to be in the top 5 offers, except for some textbooks. So I'm probably going to come in here. Amazon's on it for $11.85 plus some tax. I do want to stay away from them. So I'm probably going to drop by $1 and come in the $10.80 range as a max. I don't think condition plays that big of a role, but in this case, I'm like new. The best like new copy is $9.50. I'm going to let them sell first, and I'm going to come in probably the $10.49 range. $9.99 is pretty good. $10.85, you can undercut them by a little bit. Again, I'm trying to stay a little bit away from Amazon, but that's the theory there. Next one, Flash Boys, Michael Lewis, great author if you haven't read his stuff. This is about day traders who, I think that's the right one, we're trying to get speed and run cables through the mountains from New York to Chicago. It's actually a really good read. So again, in this case, if you're looking at a repricer, it may only see the lowest prime price, which is $8.79. It's got the lowest new prime, which is, in this case, it is Amazon, $11.52. So you're going to price somewhere between them. However, if you match this price at $8.79, you're probably leaving money on the table, because as soon as this person sells out in acceptable condition, you can get the next sale. This user is like new. So again, Amazon's on it for $11.52. Probably the max I'm going to come in is $10.99 or $10.49, and I can easily get that here. I'll probably come in at $10.95 and try and be the next person in line, and I better get the right price. Amazon will highlight whichever item you've kind of been on last, or at least what you're on, and they'll make the links change from blue to red. So as long as you kind of do this in order, and they'll kind of show which ones have changed prices as well, let you save it. That'll make sure you're getting the right ones. This particular one is not selling very often, so I don't want to be on it for $200. This one is selling, in the last year it sold 6 or 7 times. The used price has varied between $1 plus shipping to the peak was $7. So it's pretty much a couple dollar book. It's a $10 book, merchant fulfilled. I'm not going to ask for much of a prime premium going prime, just because it's not selling very often. In the last 6 months, it's sold once or twice. I want to be the next sale, and in this case, the lowest merchant prime is $24.99, which should be $25. Whoever's doing that should be at $25, because non-prime sellers get free shipping at that price point. I'm going to undercut them. The lowest merchant fulfilled is $3, probably $4 shipping, so $7. And I want to be the next sale. $9.95 is decent. I'm going to be, I'll try $14.95, and I can drop that over time. And we'll go look at the next one. Again, as you're pulling it up and as it's pulling data, we know that $15.25 is the cheapest used prime price. $19.31 is usually Amazon's price. That's the orange line on the Keepa chart. So there's not much room to price between it, and the black line is $4, and it looks like it just jumped up to maybe $5. So merchant fulfilled is $9. Going to 15 prime is not a bad option at all. So $200 is not going to cut it. We're going to come in Again, I don't think condition matters all that much. I do want to stay under Amazon. This one's selling a medium amount. It's selling nearly every day. So in this case, I'm fine waiting a little bit. I'm going to price a little bit under Amazon, and I'd probably come in the 1750 range, give or take. So again, you can see that just by setting up these Chrome extensions, again, that was nifty split. That throws every new link into the next new window. And when I'm done, I can simply quit out of this and nifty split will turn off. The redirects may throw you off if you're trying to list with some other software because it'll keep redirecting to Prime. So you can simply come into here and you can turn off the redirector. So I think you can click this. It'll bring up the Chrome store and you can see it here. And there should be an option to turn it off. So you don't want to remove it. You actually just want to say disable for now, and then you can re-enable that later if you don't want to use it. So that's how we use it. Let's go through just a few more. Here, again, I'm looking at sales history. Is it low, medium, high? I'd say this is high. It's selling nearly every day. The worst it's ever been ranked is 350,000, so it's doing pretty well. Star Wars is popular. Again, just before we even look at it, we know that the lowest prime is 729. Amazon's likely on it for 1046, so not much of a range. We're going to price somewhere in that window. Is there a gap? We've got a ton of sellers at 729, then 730, then 799. Again, because it's selling quite a bit, and I'm in very good condition, and one of these is. So as soon as they sell out, I can be the next. I'll probably come in at 799 and wait a little bit and try and get that sale. Again, the higher we price, the longer it's going to sit. If we price it at 728, someone's going to beat us right away because there's better repricing power. It's like bringing a knife to a gunfight. So we want to stay away from that. I don't want to undercut what's there. You certainly can. This isn't a collusion issue. It's just that there's people with better weapons than you, and they're just going to reprice almost instantaneously. So rather than let them go even lower, I'm going to ignore those offers, wait for them to sell out, and come in at 60 cents more. It's not that big of a deal. You know, if I can get a bigger gap, maybe I might even price at 840 and let the next three sell out. It's kind of like waiting for stocks. Other sellers may come in. I may do that here just for kicks and giggles because it is such a good rank. It's selling pretty often. So I'll come in at 842. I'll undercut Amazon Warehouse by a little bit. And that's essentially how to do it. When you're done, don't forget to hit Save All, and that'll update all your prices. And hopefully that helps you speed up the repricing option. Again, repricers, the software is great. It's going to help you move, especially older inventory or stuff that's just getting stagnant. But there is no substitute for getting your eyeballs on it. And again, if you can set this up and optimize your time, this will speed you up, as well as if you can use this and hire some virtual assistants or somebody else to help manage your inventory. So hopefully that helps. Comment below if you learned something new or if you have other questions you'd like me to look at. And as always, thanks for watching, not for walking. Thanks for watching, maybe while walking. And check us out at thebookflipper.com as well as scoutiq.co.